Okay, here's a look at my current collection for the War for Cybertron Season 3 Autobots. And like all my videos, I'm making them so I can have a reference for my collection, and I can go over some of my thoughts and opinions on them, you know, as I try to continue to perfect the collection while I'm still here. And also some figures I might be letting go of and giving away. So that's the reason for most of my video collections. And so here's another look at some additional characters from Season 3 and some missing characters. And I want to go over all of this. And I even took out the Metroplex. So let's start with Hot Rod. Okay, I'm gonna try not to say too much because I think a lot's already been said. This is really a nice figure, almost masterpiece quality. And you know, the way this transforms, the arms having to flip around, ever since I was a kid, that's what I wanted to see, because that's the way it showed up in the movie when he transformed. And so this figure actually does that. The arms actually have to flip around to the other side. Yeah, I'm not gonna go over too much, but this is really, for a mainline figure, this is really awesome. And the engineering design is definitely like masterpiece quality. So, Hot Rod. And then, let's see, there's Arcee. And, you know, I initially first complained that this was not cartoon accurate, specifically the feet. Pink feet and white ankles when it should be white feet and gray ankles. And sure enough, after that, they announced that they're going to remake this under the Legacy line. That's more cartoon accurate. I don't think it has that pink on her belly. Yeah, but you have to buy another one. So I always said that's Hasbro's market strategy team. They purposely do these things because they're setting you up to buy more, to, you know, add to your collection, especially for those perfectionist completists like me. Even that face is not painted, but the Legacy is. So, like I said, the other reason why I make these videos is because this one I'm gonna let go of and give away. So now let's go over Cup. They actually did the same thing with Cup, but this is the Buzzing Bumblebee Studio series, so you can see it's painted windows, and just overall this is has a more accurate cartoon finish to it. So I am giving away the Studio series version of Cup away. But yeah, here's Cup, and then Blurr and Wheelie. But Blurr, I actually like this. This is really nice. I mean, people complain about this, but it actually doesn't look too bad. I mean, that's one of his iconic features is, you know, he has part of his car on his forearm, so it's just a little more prominent here because of the way it needs to be designed. So I have no issues with it. Yeah, but this looks really nice. And then there is no Wheelie. I mean, they made that Wheelie that came with Grimlock which was a big joke. So I'm having to use the Takata version, the Takata Legends version of Wheelie, which definitely looks much better. The paint finish colors are much better. And his little slingshot that I took from the GDO Generations Wheelie. So yeah, I'm happy I have this set. These two guys look really good together. Okay, now let's move on to Springer. I think I already went over this. This is really a nice figure. Cartoon accurate. I mean, this was during the siege, so you got all those, you know, battle damage marks on him, which it's not too distracting. But overall, even the color of the lower legs, this is really nice. And it transforms into all three modes. So yeah, these now are made to resemble the cartoon character more, and they look much better than the previous line where they're representing him, but they're designing it, you know, putting their own designs to things. You know, they transform into things that they didn't in the cartoon. So that's what's great about this. And then let's see, Wreck-Gar. Oh man, this, yeah, I'm gonna try not to say too much because I'm pretty sure we share the same thoughts, but this is really an awesome figure. Better than KFC, and you know, I don't think anyone's gonna get any better than this main line. I mean, it's cartoon accurate. And I am looking forward to, what is it, Junk Heap? However, I don't know how I'm gonna feel because then I only have one junkie on when there should be a lot more. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about that. But either way, this is a great figure, and when I get Jump Heap, it'll be really nice. Now moving on to Ultra Magnus. There were different versions, but you know, this is the one that's more cartoon accurate. It's just this blue is a little too dark in my opinion. But you know, you have to take what you can get, what they give you. And this is when Hasbro and Takata are making these same toys, so you know, there is no better version by Takata. It's exactly the same. Now I want to point out, there was the DNA upgrade kit, which would make him proportionately better looking, so he's not so like stocky. But if you can imagine, he's going to be much taller. He's going to be out of scale with these other figures, so that's the reason why I passed on the upgrade kit. And then last is Rodimus Primes. This is another cool figure. Better than the Power of the Primes, Rodimus. And yeah, I don't know what else to say other than this is really cool. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really look like the vehicle in the cartoon when you transform it. He looks a little bit elongated, but like I said, you have to take what they give you. And just overall, you know, these, they do look like the cartoon. They do represent them really well. And so, yeah, and they're better than the previous toy lines that I just recently did videos of, so can't complain. Waiting for the Legacy Arcee to complete the main cast from the movie. And then there was the Spike. This is another cool figure. I mean, the white feet to be more cartoon accurate. I mean, it transforms. You just need a Spike. But before this came out, just want to point out, I actually bought 2 of those Bumblebees just so I can have 2 exo suits. which, you know, I initially had it like this, but after carefully looking at it, I think he should be a little bit taller, so these two are also gonna have to go. Now let's continue on with other characters from the movie. Obviously, it was Blaster and Preceptor who survived. So let's start with the Preceptor. This is really nice. This is now finally the better version of official release of Preceptor. I mean, just look at it. It looks like the cartoon. And it turns into a microscope, which is also important to be cartoon accurate. Yeah, I'm not going to say too much. That's really a nice figure. But they are still doing things that are purposely not perfect. Okay, just on first glance, this Blaster looks really nice and he fits in really well. However, Blaster does not have black feet. And he does not have these black things on his shoulders. So you see Hasbro's up to their thing again. And since I have it, I mean, what's the deal with Eject being this transparent blue color? That's just, you know, I have no intention of ever using that. So that's why as a temporary fill-in, even though they are a little bit too big, I'm using what I really still like, which is coming from the Chug line, the Transformers Collectors Club exclusive Eject and Rewind. Now, these are not like these where they represent the cartoon and turn into the alt mode in the cartoon, because these don't turn into cassettes, they turn into like a tank. So this is the older design. They resemble the character, but they're designed, you know, a little bit differently with a lot of detail. But like I said, for now these are temporary fill-ins, which in my opinion, I think it looks pretty nice. And the same thing with Steeljaw and Ramhorn. These are previous toy line. This is the Titan's Return. So it comes with, like, you know, those weird like headmasters or those mini cons, that some sort of energy thing or whatever. But main thing, I'm using those as temporary fill-ins. Okay, now the mini bots. This is why I make this video, so I can have reference, but also go over some of my thoughts. Here is the current War for Cybertron pipes. It looks okay. I mean, I think that white, I think they shouldn't have used bright white. And I don't like, you know, how the white feet is, you know, it's white instead of blue. Same thing with Huffer, gray instead of orange. But, you know, it is nice. I mean, it does look like the cartoon. But the issue, and this is with some of the other mini bots, is I think Pipes is a little bit too tall. I think he should be legend size, like Wheelie. But so I'm just putting this aside and using the McFans Toys version of Pipes, because he fits in scale wise better, in my opinion. You see? And more importantly, to have the rest of the Season 3 mini cons, you have to have the previous ones, Outback and Tailgate, and McFans Toys Swerve. And so when you look at it, they all fit in scale wise, so this set's perfect in my opinion. But this is not, unless they're planning to make a legacy Outback, a legacy Tailgate, a legacy Swerve, which I really don't think that's going to happen, especially when there was no War for Cybertron gears, which would obviously have been a repaint to be Swerve. But anyways, this is what I'm using, and I think it fits in very well with the rest of the characters. Now, some of the other Season 3 characters. There was Broadside and Sandstorm. They didn't make a War for Cybertron or Legacy, so these are from the previous storyline. This is the Takata version of Broadside, and Generations had by Hasbro with the black waist and black feet, which should actually be orange feet and orange hips and black legs. But again, it's the scale that's off. Sandstorm should not be this tall. I mean, he should not be taller than Blurr and Cup. So that's why, you know, I am also letting go of that and giving it away. And as a temporary fill-in, I'm using my original G1 Sandstorm. And you can see this looks really nice. I kind of went over it, so I'm just not going to say too much. Just appreciate this. Like I said, when I was a kid, I thought this was one of the coolest Transformer toys, G1 Transformer toys. Yeah, so that's what I'm using as a fill-in. And then back to Broadside. This is the Takata version. You don't have any War for Cybertron or Legacy, so this is just being used as a fill-in, and I think it looks okay, even though Broadside should definitely be bigger. He should be about the size of Ultra Magnus. Actually, I think he should even be a little bit taller than Ultra Magnus. From that cartoon episode, I think Carnage in C minor or something. Yeah, so this Broadside needs to be like a liter size, or I forgot the size, the name of the size higher than that. And then last, well, not last, but over here is the Skylinks. You definitely need Skylinks, because this was a character from Season 3. You can kind of hear his voice. Yeah, I think just like Ultra Magnus, I think the color of the blue is too dark. And this, you can thank Hasbro for it, because there is no more Takata version. Because I'm sure if Takata was able to still have their paint finish the way they want, this would probably look a little bit more like the cartoon. But that's what we have. And now, then there was Computron and Metroplex. So let's just go over Computron here real quick. This is the Takata Unite Warriors. Before that, Hasbro and Takata merged, so this does look more like the cartoon. Has a nice finish, and I actually had to use 2 upgrade kits. Perfect effect for the hands and feet, and the Transform Dreamwave upgrade for the chest, because the Perfect Effect upgrade for the chest does not fit in with the Takata version. But I'm not gonna go too much over this, but this is really a nice figure to have to go with the season 3 Autobots. And I don't know what else to say. This is just really nice. And yeah, I think this goes really nice with the Generation Select Abominus with the Transform Dreamwave upgrade kit, which I do have another one that I'm thinking of giving away to someone from the Transformers Hangout group on Facebook. So this is my extra set, which has the white head, not the magenta color head, like that. But anyways, now moving on, the last is Metroplex, but before that, let's see, they were War for the Siege and Kingdom. They did make Metroplex's minions, which was definitely needed during the time when this came out. But either way, this is what we have. It's not cartoon accurate. I mean, in the cartoon he should have red arms, but what can you do? I'm not gonna say too much. I mean, this is cool. This was designed to have its own gimmick where you can take them apart, add them as weapons to other figures. And the same thing with this is 6-gun, and the same thing with what is it, Slammer? Yeah, so he can, but you know what's cool is he actually does turn into a robot, which he never did in the cartoon. But the same gimmick, you can take them apart into pieces and add them to figures to arm them up. It's just not really my thing, but just the gimmick they added. And then Slammer or Scamper, I don't remember the name, one of those two. But this came with Metroplex, which was really nice. So it's a good representation of him, but you know, they did design it, you know, a little bit differently. So that was the trend during the Chug era. And now this is the Metroplex from the San Diego Comic-Con version with those chrome thighs. And I just want to share, like, you know, I was being a nice guy. I mean, there was another Transformer collector, Julio, who, you know, was trying to make a big deal out of getting this for me from San Diego Comic-Con. But actually my friend who had a booth at San Diego Comic-Con actually got it for me already. So I was just being nice, saying thank you. But something else about Julio, I mean, I gave him so many of my toys that he just would never pay for. You know, so I had to keep asking him to pay, and each time he'd always ask and be very annoyed, as if I was causing a problem by asking him to pay me for the toys that he got from me. Anyways, I think he moved to Arizona now. I mean California. So, I digress. Just
Metroplex heeds the call of the last prime.
Some pictures.
Foolish Decepticons. Decepticon deactivation commencing.
I like that voice.
Target synchronizing initiated.
So that's it. And the main thing is this fits in, even though this is Chug era and designed like Chug style, not quite cartoon accurate, you know, putting in a lot of their own details like the shoulders. This still fits in very well with the War for Cybertron figures. So this is what I currently have. Waiting to get Arcee and hopefully Daniel, and this set will look really nice.